Hello, I'm Super Orange Cat, and I'm back with a random anime review today. The anime I am reviewing is the anime from 2014, Engaged to the Unidentified. This anime, as far as I'm aware, has never actually been dubbed, or at least I can't find who voiced the dubbed characters. So actually, the one I've watched was the subtitled version, and it aired, like I said, back in early 2014. And you might know it because there have been a couple of memes that have been generated by the show. Both of them featuring the character on the left here, Mashiro Mitsumine. And I'm just going to give a brief synopsis of what happens in the 12 episodes of the show, and then I'm going to give some of my general opinion on it. First, the girl in the middle here, Kobeni, she wakes up. It's her 16th birthday. She's happy. Her sister, who's on the right, is absolutely obsessed with her. Says, "Hey, I got you a cake from some fancy baker." And the mom comes over and is like, "Hey, happy birthday. Oh, by the way, you know this like really dark guy towards the other side of the room? Yeah, why is he there? Oh yeah, by the way, he's gonna be your husband now. Yeah, you're engaged now, sweetie. I love you, but you're marrying this guy." And she's like, well, being the ungrateful daughter she is, she says, "Why am I being married off?" She's like, "Oh, it's your grandfather, your dead grandfather. Yeah, he said like years ago that, yeah, he wants you to marry this kid. He really likes this kid. He thinks he's top grade genes. Oh, yeah, and his family's like really fucking rich." So she's still apprehensive about it. And also, this little girl on the left here, like I said, Mashiro, she shows up, says, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna be your sister-in-law now, and I'm gonna live with you, I guess, until you get married or something. So deal with it." So naturally, she goes to school with her betrothed, with her fiance, and with her new future sister-in-law. And then her friend shows up, and then I think it was actually Hakuya, which is the name of the fiance, says, "Oh, by the way, we're gonna get married." So her friend knows it, and she's like, "Okay, tell no one because shit's gonna get weird if people know about this." So then the general plot afterwards is just her trying to figure out her new fiance. Her new fiance is a very, I'll say, very stoic man, but he clearly loves her. He's trying to do all he can to show he loves her, and that's kind of a general plot line. And then let's just flash forward a few episodes where there's this like blonde girl who's obsessed with Benio, which is again the girl on the right, the older sister, who's absolutely obsessed with her. In fact, the whole school is obsessed with her, which is kind of, I think every anime where I think about it has like one, like in school scenes have like that one character everyone's obsessed with. Like in Himito Umaru-chan, it's Amaru. And remember back in Fully Coolly Progressive, all the kids were like obsessed with Haruko, which I guess it's kind of a trope. But everyone's like that with Benio, the older sister. However, there's this blonde girl who's also like obsessed with her to the point of like almost sexual. And there's also like you get to this point where it's like you figure out, oh yeah, by the way, at this point you figure out the mother of Hakuya and Mashiro show up as like, oh, I'm gonna know who the new woman I'm introducing to the family is gonna go into the family's like. She's like, "Oh, you're awesome. I like you. You're gonna be a good wife. Oh, by the way, we're dog people." So like she panics. She has a fever, and that's kind of a running thing because Hakuya, the fiance, saved Kobeni's life when she was like 4, which is kind of the reason why the grandfather wants them to get married. And she's got like half his like spirit energy, which is like half dog person. I forgot the exact term. There's an exact term character in Japanese folklore that this is supposed to be based on, but I can't remember at the time. So she's like half this. Hokuya gave his energy to her to stay alive, and this like race of people kind of live in the mountains, and they're like, well, we're kind of, people are moving into our territory, and to keep our space we're kind of moving into the cities and trying to disguise ourselves. So like bad stuff will happen if people figure out that we're half dog people. So then, and naturally there's this other girl who starts speaking with, I guess, the Japanese equivalent of the southern accent. But Mashiro's like, "Hey, I'm pretty sure this girl's also a dog person." The company's like, "Really?" She's like, "Oh yeah, 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 total dog person, right?" So then Mashiro and Suetsugi, I think that's her name, they have this like kind of a cat fight. Hakuya gets involved because he wants to protect his younger sister, his baby sister, and she's like, "Well, back where I'm," this is the new girl who's obsessed with Benny. I was like, "Well, where I'm come from, our dog Mailkin ain't common, so guess what? You's gotta marry me." But in like a more classier way. But they're supposed to be like farm people at the same time, so that's why I gave them the southern accent. So anyway, he says, no, I'm engaged to Kobeni. And then like Swietsky kind of tries this gambit with trying to get Kobeni to be like break off the engagement so she can marry Hakuya, but that fails and that plot line's really dropped pretty quickly. And then towards the end, you have this whole thing where it's like it's pretty clear Hakuya wants to display his love for Kobeni, but because of his stoic nature, he doesn't know how, and that kind of becomes an internal struggle of his. And then by the end of the second to last episode, they just the Mitsumes, so Mashiro and Hakuya just disappear. And of course, Kobeni is like, well, I gotta find my man because, oh my god, I just realized the whole time I was in love with him. So she goes off to the mountains. Oh, it turns out they didn't leave for good. They just needed to collect the spring harvest. So naturally, Kobeni, because she has like no adaptation to nature whatsoever, gets stuck in a blizzard. Mashiro and Hakuya save her, take her into a cave, and then like they leave for various reasons. Like Hakuya is trying to get help from his family, and then Mashiro is trying to find like kindling for the fire because it was about to go out. And then like Kobeni wakes up and they're gone. It's like, oh no, they abandoned me. So I'm gonna do the total rational thing and just go in the opposite direction of where I know that they live and just kind of wander off, which naturally takes her to another cliff because that's gonna happen. So she starts to fall off, but this time Hakuya saves her before she falls down. So he feels like he kind of made up for it a bit. The fact that he couldn't save her from falling all the way off the cliff the first time, where he had to go back and save her life. So yeah, you have this sweet moment, and then they all have dinner together, and that's where the anime ends. That's a bit long-winded, and I missed some details, some pretty crucial details probably. Now I'm gonna go into some of the stuff I really loved about this anime. I really like Kobeni's character. Like she had something of an arc where it's like, my mother is a businesswoman, my sister is absolutely intelligent, she has everything going for her, she will probably be a businesswoman. I'm not as smart or as intelligent or as adept as these, but I'm good at house stuff, so I feel like I'm gonna be stuck being a housewife because that's all I'm good at. Which is something that even Mashiro, who has been kind of like the bitchy sister-in-law, even goes out and says, "Hey, you're pretty good at this." Like, just admitting, "Hey, you're gonna be a good wife. You do the wife stuff right." And like Hubini also having this kind of a pseudo arc, which they really go into the end of her feeling alone because her sister and her mother are gonna splay away from her, and she feels like the Mitsumes are also gonna abandon her as well, which that ends up not being the case, fortunately for her. And I kind of like that. And another stuff thing I really liked about it was just the build up to the final episode was great. Like the first half of the final episode, if the whole episode was just like that, I would say that would rank up there as one of the best final episodes of any anime of all time. Because you have this watershed moment where everything is falling down around Kobeni. She realizes, I love Hakuya. I never realized it until now. I need him in my life, so I'm going to go and find him. And that's also aided by her friend. I'm going to mispronounce this. Mariah Mayura, something like that. The short, blonde-haired girl. She basically says, "Hey, you need to be a little selfish. You've been thinking about everyone else. Do something for yourself, girl. Go get your man." And I really like that build up. I love the song they had. It just showed like Chur taking train stops to get to, I guess, the furthest part that the train goes before setting off on foot. But then I kind of didn't like the second half of the episode, how it just turned into this whole, well, we're gonna have to end it the same way that we implied. Because let's be honest, when we got learned about the whole her falling off the cliff the first time, you know the last episode was gonna revolve around her falling off a cliff again. Let's be real here, that's a trope. We all saw it coming. But one thing I kind of liked about the ending was that the previous episode, you have this brief moment where they talk about how, oh, around the mountains, like spring vegetables are growing. And then Mashiro's like, oh, yeah, that's growing. Like, it's near harvest season. And that's something that just seemed like an irrelevant detail to me until the end where we realized, oh, they had to go back to the mountains to farm the spring vegetables, collect the harvest for their family. And that's why I said that's when foreshadowing, in my opinion, is well done. When you don't realize the foreshadowing happened until after the reveal. Unlike some shows, and I'm going to get a little flack for this, the Stakes miniseries at Adventure Time does a horrible job of this. where it's just like every detail that's thrown out there, is gonna be relevant in the end. Like you have a third of the way through, Marceline almost randomly say, "Well, my dad never did anything for me. Well, he gave me the ability to suck souls." And at that point, like, okay, the ending's gonna evolve around her sucking souls, which, what do you know, is how it ends, by the way. But yeah, back to another thing I kind of didn't really like about this. The whole siscon lolicon thing around Benio, the oldest sister, just got so unnerving to me. Like, you have this whole, like, her obsession over Kobeni, and then her being absolutely to a perverted level obsessed with Mashiro, who she calls Marshmallow. It just gets really creepy. It got to the point where it's just like the same joke over and over again of she's gonna find some excuse to put Marshmallow in a compromising position for her own enjoyment. But I kind of like the whole vice president, since Benio is the president of the student council, you have the vice president kind of being the straight woman, having to play, having to deal with all her bullshit. I really love that, the whole like her being down to earth, playing as like the comedy partner in a way to Benio. I like that. And yeah, I can't think of anything right off the bat that I have to really say about the show that I specifically loved or hated. There, this show, especially early on, really felt like it was probably the best show I've done in this review series. But at the same time, yeah, I really ended up liking this. Like, at the whole end of the day, the stuff I didn't like really was minimal on the show. And if I have to give a number to the show, I would give it about I'll say a 7.5 out of 10. So what do you guys think? Have you watched this anime before? If you have, what's your opinion on it? Leave your comments down below. I'm the hint I'm gonna give for the next show I'm watching is imagine Froppy's cousin as a femcel. And I'm gonna leave it at that. So what are your opinions on this? Leave your comments down below. Do you want more random anime reviews like this? Please subscribe. Please hit that notification button. I appreciate you guys' support. I am Super Orange Cat, and that is all.